mean, the biggest question I have, especially as someone who's creative, we talked a little bit about this, but how do you kind of balance that creative nature versus now you have the business side and you kind of have to sell yourself? And what's that transition been like?
So the transition personally has been for me a little more difficult just because I always feel that the way that I add the most value is being the most creative. I know that that was a draw earlier in my career because I almost put the business part to the side and was creative, design. Like I bombarded you with it. And I started to realize that there is a sweet spot that you always want to hit. And sometimes it's dependent on the relationship that you have with the client. Sometimes it's actually project based. And then there are those other moments that are super rare where it's just like do what you think is right. And then we can kind of narrow things down from there. But for me, design works best when it actually hits your target. And it's not poetic in the way that I say it, but there's times where even as a designer, I see other things and other inspiration, and I'm like, oh, that's amazing. But then when I really kind of boil down what the goal of that project or that product is, the design kind of just falls apart because it looks really pretty, but it doesn't function the way that you want it to.
Right, or it's not for that specific audience.
Yeah. And I know as a designer, that's usually what we struggle with, is trying to move away from being so creative that someone falls in love with the visual aspects of what it is that we designed and kind of has a user see the design subconsciously as beautiful, but focus on what the experience and what the task at hand is really.
Right.
And I think some of the best examples of that are the designs that you don't really notice. Like people go to Apple's website all the time because they are usually looking for a product. No one really goes for the design, but the reason that that design works is because it makes you focus on the product.
Right.
As weird as that sounds. So for me, I honestly start with design, and then I start to strip away some of the things that are unneeded, some of the things that are distracting, some of the things that like look pretty and maybe does work for what I want it to do, but maybe there's a different way to do it that feels a little more natural.
Right.